children.
I think the media should have investigated the information more and lined it up for people to understand the case.
Well, it's one of St. Louis's most well-known cases in the past 2 decades, the murders of Robin and Julie Curry, thrown from the Chain of Rocks bridge.
You know, it goes all the way back to Emmett Till. It goes back to a number of cases that are more notable than even the Chain of Rocks case. But it's a thing that really most folks who are trying to stoke that, you know, that little ember, know that they can get a rise out of people. And so most people remember it was a negative thing that happened on that bridge, and some black boys were involved.
Inhumanity and disregard for basic human rights is not a thing of the past. The judicial system in the state of Missouri has yet to live up to a 21st century expectation. To better understand the implications, let's go back to the 19th century and the Missouri Compromise. Upon Missouri's entrance into the Union of the United States of America, there was discussion as to whether Missouri would enter as a free or slave state. After much consideration and the simultaneous entrance of Maine, Missouri became a slave state in 1821. The admittance would not come without consequences to an underprivileged class of people. In Missouri, slaves were not permitted to be free without the consent of their owners, despite previous legislation that called for the freeing of all slaves born after 1821 on their 25th birthday. Though Missouri was admitted, one stipulation was added: its legislative pledge never to ignore the rights of citizens of another state coming to Missouri. In 1857, nearly 40 years later, a slave named Dred Scott would challenge the very fabric of the Missouri Constitution and the justice system. Dred Scott versus Sanford is easily the most famous court case of the 19th century, and certainly in Missouri. Scott sued for his freedom, hoping that he found a loophole in the Missouri Compromise. To his dismay, his freedom was denied, and the ultimate decision by Chief Justice Roger B. Taney was as follows. 1. Any person descended from black Africans, whether slave or free, is not a citizen of the United States, according to the Declaration of Independence. 2. The Ordinance of 1787 could not confer freedom or citizenship within the Northwest Territory to black people. 3. The provisions of the Act of 1820, known as the Missouri Compromise, were voided as a legislative act because the act exceeded the powers of Congress insofar as it attempted to exclude slavery and impart freedom and citizenship to black people in the northern part of the Louisiana Cession. Fast forward nearly 140 years to 1991. A group of young black men were fraternizing at the Chain of Rocks Bridge late one evening when perchance they met a smaller group of white teenagers also enjoying the evening. What began as a harmless evening turned into tragedy when the group of young men was taken in for questioning, an afternoon from which they would never return. Among those taken in was 19-year-old Reginald Clemens. The Chain of Rocks Bridge case is arguably the Dred Scott case of our time. When thinking of a way in which a person can be denied his inalienable rights as granted him by the Constitution of the United States of America, this case must come to mind.
Nothing in the trial proceedings required that they find me guilty of of rape or that a rape even happened. So the rape is what's supposed to connect me to the murder, but I've never been found guilty of rape. And the prosecutors say I didn't kill anybody, but the rape is supposed to connect me to the murder. That's why I'm trying to get them to take me to trial for the rape. Take me to trial so that I can confront these charges and I can put on the evidence and challenge the evidence that the prosecutor really don't have.